Here are some of the papers we've got for you this morning. The Blueprint newspaper, high sulfur content claim. This is a matter that's been going on for a while, and we can tell you that it will, as a matter of fact, also continue in the days ahead. So the lead story here, subject our products to credibility test. Dangote dares NMDPRA. Says regulator undermining the market. Farouk Ahmed lacks sufficient knowledge of our refinery. Refinery stands as a beacon of hope for the country. Ascribed to Abbas. So that's the big lead on the front page of Blueprint newspaper here today. This Nigeria, oil war. Probe quality of PMS diesel at filling stations nationwide. Who's going to pick up the gauntlet? Now, look at the writer here. Dangote Petroleum Regulatory Agency, NMDPRA, at each other's throats over alleged monopolistic tendencies. Dangote rejects claims of producing substandard fuel monopoly. That's a big one right there. But above that one, you get to see 2023 election violence. Court orders INEC to hold governors and deputies accountable. You need to read the story to find out how. But in that story, my fellow Americans, I quit, says U.S. President Biden on November polls, endorses Kamala Harris. Look at the Daily Times. Tinubu highlights ECOWAS achievements, challenges at AU meeting. Says ECOWAS will continue to dialogue with Burkina Faso, Mali, Niger to maintain unity. And then at the bottom strip there, U.S. 2024, Biden quits presidential race, endorses Kamala Harris. The Abuja Inquirer survey maps 17 flood locations in Abuja, school, market at risk. That's a big one right there. They also have that story. Kamala Harris may be first black female U.S. presidential candidate. That's what you also see on the front page right there.
I'll begin with what's on the front page of the Abuja Inquirer, as you have it right there. I mean, the last one that you saw. And what's particularly concerning is the fact that schools and markets are at risk, especially in Abuja. The Abuja Inquirer leads with survey maps 17 flood locations in Abuja alone. And don't forget that we have been told by the authorities who are concerned that hundreds of locations all across the nations are to watch out. Don't also forget that we've been told that water levels are going to be concerning. We are looking forward to tomorrow. We want to have a better tomorrow, but please, let's take care of today so that we can actually be alive and well enough for that tomorrow. So are there any proactive measures that can be taken at the federal, state, or local government levels? State or local government levels, yes, we know people are responsible or irresponsible in some ways, putting things where they're not supposed to put them and then causing blockade of some of the waterways. All of that is known. But then these are not things that are happening on the authorities suddenly. This is a clarion call. It's a survey. And thankfully, we have proactive officials all over the nation. This is an example in Abuja and where else. It's my take this morning, guys.
Indeed, I certainly couldn't agree more with you. To be forewarned, they say, it's to be forearmed. But one of the things that really stands out for me this morning, the papers, on the front page of the papers, is the big story that broke yesterday. I couldn't believe it when I turned my TV on. That Biden steps down. He's standing down for the 2024 elections. I couldn't just believe what I saw. I mean, this was after months of pressure, building pressure. And I think that debate with former President Trump just put paid to that, or increase the tempo of the pressure. And at the end of the day, the president had to, accept. And I think while stepping down was big news, the bigger news, though I said the biggest news, was that he actually endorsed his vice president as as candidate. I mean, I understand they will have to slug it out at their convention. I mean, but to endorse means to actually believe that you know, my vice president can actually do the job. And I wasn't just picking her because, you know, it was the politically correct thing to do, you know, for the sake of balance, for the sake of all the other sakes that people pick up deputies for. It meant that he truly believed that if he wasn't available for any reason, she actually could do the job. Even though some people were saying that, you know, the optics of you know, bypassing her. But truth of the matter was, he didn't have to endorse anybody. He could simply have said, I step down and I leave it open to the Democratic, you know, convention to find a replacement. But for him to actually say that he picks his vice president as the candidate, or he endorses her as the candidate, and you know, whoever else wanted to support, you know, him, maybe he should support her. I think it's a big statement indeed. The question now is whether the Democrats or the Democratic Party will be willing to toe that particular line. It'll be interesting days, very interesting days ahead in U.S. politics, I tell you.
Well, yes, quite a lot over there, because, I mean, yeah, they still have to have their convention and then decide who picks the ticket. First time in U.S. history where the seventh president just steps down, won't go for a second term. And then they don't know how the pendulum will swing, because, I mean, Republicans, yes, they've got Donald Trump and the vice president who is relatively unknown to America, and then the president who, I mean, you hear people say, haven't been convicted, what happens? But you see, different kind of interests. So they're all trying to come to terms with their reality over there. But we shouldn't also forget what is sweeping across Europe. The political development, there are several perspectives. Some are going so left. And so huge lessons really in those countries in terms of how their politics is emerging. But above all, I think for us, we need to find a way to see that people are able to feel, I mean, leaders are able to feel the pulse of the people. What exactly are the people thinking? So we don't just become dinosaurs and just think, no, it's always been this way, so it has to be that way moving forward. Because before you know what's going on, it's swept off your feet. So it's hugely significant and important. Hoping that, I mean, in Kenya, they're saying the president is a puppet of IMF. So that's why you see some dissenting voices over here talking about, no, they want to protest. So all sorts of things happening, but how they manage all of those to make sure their institutions function is key above all else. Not forgetting the drama playing out in the oil and gas sector in this country. Don't blink.
Yeah.
Because if you do, you may miss a lot. But give us a moment. We will be right back.